Hi! I'm back because I'm super annoyed with myself because in my wrap up for January of all the books that I read in January, I forgot to mention that a book that I loved, that I just gave 5 stars on Goodreads. That's The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. Yeah, that book has been out for a while, and I don't care because it takes me a while sometimes to get to books. This one was suggested by, I don't remember who, but they really were vehement that I read it as soon as possible. So I put it on hold and I read it, and I was kicking myself that it took me so long to read it. I've really loved other books by Holly Black. Her White Cat, Black Cat series is amazing. I really enjoyed The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, and I really like her graphic novel series, The Good Neighbors. Oh gosh. Yes, I think that's what that series is called. It's a trilogy. It's really good. So she does a really great job of having supernatural and like fantastical elements really anchored in a real world setting that I really, really love. The Darkest Part of the Forest is about twins who, Hazel and Ben, who live, they're not twins, Christina. Oh my gosh, they're really close, and so I kept forgetting that they are not the same age. So Hazel and Ben are a year apart. Ben is a year older, and they live in a town called Fairfold, which is just on the edge of a forest that is definitely a little spooky. They, the people of Fairfolk have a tenuous, I would say, relationship with the fair folk, or fairies, and other mystical supernatural creatures. So they do all sorts of weird things, like leave out saucers of milk and carry oatmeal around, and they don't go out during the full moon and things like that, because they don't want to anger or upset or tempt the kind of mystical creatures who live in the world around them. Most importantly, though, there is a glass coffin out in the middle of the woods, and in that glass coffin is a sleeping prince. He doesn't look like your normal Sleeping Beauty kind of prince. He, besides his fabulous clothes, he's beautifully dressed. He is inhumanly beautiful, and he has 2 really nice horns. He's been asleep there for as long as anybody can remember, and Ben and Hazel, when they're little, are fascinated by him and make up stories. Ben makes up stories about the prince. In some stories, Hazel is the brave knight who wakes him up, breaks the glass coffin, and saves him, and they go off and have many adventures. In some of the stories, Ben is the one who wakes him up and turns the evil dark prince into someone who is good. They're both little when they start having these imaginary adventures with their prince, and they're both equally in love with him. As they grow, though, different things in their life change. Their situations change. They're feral kids. Their parents are not super involved in their lives because they're a little more involved in their own. And Ben and Hazel have to fend for themselves, and they have to fend for themselves in kind of brutal ways sometimes to protect the people around them and to protect each other and themselves. When Hazel makes a deal with a fairy to do something good for her brother and for herself, things kind of go badly, because you shouldn't make deals with fairies. And it kind of sets into motion a whole bunch of crazy, crazy stuff, including bringing the monster at the heart of the forest into Fairfold, including waking up the prince and dealing with the king of the fairies, and including Hazel having to deal with the fact that she can't be close to people, and that she kisses random boys that she doesn't care about, and that the boy that she really does like might not be entirely human either. This book was so good, y'all. It is so good. I don't even know where to start. There's, like I said, there's just such a great mixture of the fantastical and the real life, the, you know, the everyday things that you have to deal with, alongside the, I can only imagine like the kind of stress that would come with living alongside mystical, magical creatures who are unending, immortal beings who could end you like that. And Ben especially is burdened with a lot of expectations and talents that he would not have asked for in normal circumstances. And Hazel makes choices that she has to deal with the consequences of. There's lots of kind of an exploration of how you cope with grief and doing the wrong thing and having the wrong thing happen to you. You know, whether that's losing someone that you love or making a decision on someone else's behalf for them, or either consciously or unconsciously. And also kind of what it means to be a kid growing up and the choices that your parents make and how they affect you. Yeah, that's like that's in the book a lot now that I'm really thinking about it. I want someone else to read this book so I can talk to them in real life about it, because I don't want to ruin anything for you. Just suffice it to say, it's an excellent book. If you've read any of Holly Black's books in the past, and you've enjoyed them, go read this one. If you read one of her books in the past and it really wasn't for you, I've talked to people who didn't really enjoy The Coldest Girl in Cold Town. I'd say you should still read this book because it's, I think the differences will win you over. If you like The Raven Cycle or Maggie Stiefvater's books, I think you'd like these books. And a random aside, I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of Holly Black. She usually has wonderfully blue hair. I saw her in a hotel at our library conference a couple years ago, and I didn't realize it was Holly Black, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair." And then she turned around and I was like, "Oh, you're Holly Black. Of course I love your hair." I felt like a dum-dum, but that's all right. That's all right. It was before I dyed my hair at all, and so I don't know. It was cool. She was really nice about it. Yeah, so that's it for me, I guess. Please go read this book so I can talk to you about it in the comments. Yeah, make sure you do all those nice things. Come talk to me about this book in the comments. Like it. There's my thumbs. Subscribe if you haven't already, and please share this video wherever you share videos. All right, so I hope you have a great day, a good evening. I hope you're safe. I hope you're happy, and I hope you have a good book to read. I'm back because I'm super annoyed with myself because in my wrap up for January of all the books that I read in January, I forgot to mention a book. Bye, Leo.